session about MeTEOR Connect. I'm Ruth Bruss, and I'm really excited to share some of our tools and free information that you can use for yourself or for your schools. If you're a parent, you can use it for your own children. If you're a teacher or an administrator, you can surely share this with your faculty, staff, or even your colleagues. The first thing you're going to notice on the screen is the web link that I want you to be sure to write down, lms.meteorconnect.com. This will get you to the screen that includes all of our free resources. So I'm going to give you just a minute to write that down so you have that. And I'm going to go live. I'm going to click straight through. I believe it's a lot more of interest when you click straight onto something and go straight to the website. And so I'll be sharing some of the key materials that are on this website. If you should have any questions, please feel free to just put in the chat, and I will look periodically over at the chat. If you want to speak, I can unmute you and allow you to speak as well. So I'll give you just a few moments just to write that down. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on that link. It is hyperlinked for me, so I'm going to go straight to the website. And this is our MeTEOR Connect website. I'm very proud of the work. The first thing I want to share with you about our MeTEOR Connect website is that all of the materials that you find here have all been created and vetted by researchers around the country. These were created by leading ELA professors and teachers and math folks and people that really are experts in the fields of the things that you're going to see that are free for you today. The first thing you're also going to notice is that we made this site very simplistic for our educators and parents to choose the materials that you want to use. The first thing you'll see is that they are in grade bands, K through 2nd grade, 3rd through 5th grade, 6th through 8th grade, and 9th through 12th grade. However, the beauty of this is that we believe that sometimes students or teachers need information that's at a higher level than the grade levels that they're teaching, or perhaps they have students that are struggling and they need something at a lower level. So you will receive, when you go to this site, it doesn't limit what you can look at. You can look at all of the materials that are on here. For today's demonstration, and just to point out a few things in the short time that we have together, I'm going to use the 3rd through 5th grade band to point out some of the things that are relevant for all of the other grade bands as well. The first thing I want you to notice is that there are these blocks, and behind each of these blocks is webinars, videos, or materials. All of the series that have that end with webinar series, video series, teacher videos, video series, those are for adults, educators only. These are not video series that you would provide for students. I want to make that very clear. They're not teaching anything to students. They're more for personalized learning for yourself and for educators. And what do I mean by that? For example, if I go to this block that says best practices, instructional best practices webinar series, and I click straight on that, I will come to a series of webinars that I, as an adult, would look through and decide if there's something that I might be of interest or I want to learn something more. Again, it's about personal growth, helping to perfect your craft. There's always an introduction for all of the webinar and video series, so you can simply click on the introduction. It'll tell you a little bit about what we believe, what the researchers really want you to know when it comes to this series. And then below, for this particular one, it gives particular, very specific topics that you might want more information on. Maybe you want to know something more about student learning experiences, or you're interested in what does rigor in literacy look like, or rigor in mathematics. What does it mean to cluster literacy standards, or cluster math standards, and so on. So you can see the various topics as I slowly scroll through. If I were to click right on that, and I'm going to click on Productive Student Conversations, it'll give me just a short little synopsis about what this particular video is about, and then I can watch the video right here. I can simply click the little red button in the middle and it'll go straight to the video. I can save it to watch it later, or I can also share this video. Again, all of these materials are free to the world. We are really proud of these, and we're really excited to be able to, during this time in our life and everything that's going on in the world, being able to share some of our really perfected items that will really help as people are trying to think through having to do distance learning and such. So that's the key things around the video series. If I look, for example, here, I'm going to skip these second blocks here. I'll come back to them. If I go to elementary writing video series, again, it looks very, very much the same. You have an overview about what this series is about, and then you would watch the videos on the webinars. In this case, if they are numbered 1 through 5, that means it really is written in a series, and you'd probably want to watch them in order because they piggyback on each other. So all of the video series look like that. Are there any questions about those particular topics or anything about the video series? If you want to type in anything or raise your hand or anything in the chat. Don't see any. Okay. Just I'll look over there in a minute, but just as a reminder, we have for all of the grade levels the instructional best practices webinar series, the elementary writing video series. But if you come here to secondary, it's the secondary writing video series. So it does look different because there are obviously different grade levels you teach writing in a different way. Culturally responsive teacher videos, if that's something that you're really wanting to focus in on. Math practices video series as well. So you have all of these video series for all of the grade bands. The other part of MeTEOR Connect that we're real proud of, and I'm going to skip to the back of each one of these, is the STEM model eliciting activities. And they are for each grade band as well. You can see it here on K2, and I just clicked on K2. Or if I come back over here and I click on 3-5, the way we built these, the writers built these in grade bands. However, I want to point out that you as an educator or teacher can certainly take these STEM activities and you can change them out for a lower grade level or higher grade level. You know your students and you know best what they can do. So I don't want you to limit yourself even in the grade bands when it comes to these STEM model eliciting activities, because you might find there's a way to be able to do them at a younger or higher grade as well. When we wrote STEM activities and had the authors write these, one of the things we really wanted them to focus in on was the E, and that is the engineering aspect of the STEM. We hear a lot in our schools about the science, the technology, and the math, but oftentimes people forget that the E in STEM stands for engineering. So all of these are really written around how you have students show their learning through a project or creating something. They're given specific criteria, and they are to build and use their knowledge of science and math and even of technology in order to construct something. So all of these are built around some type of a construction that your students are going to have to create, and that will showcase their learning. If they are able to construct it, then they're able to showcase that they do truly understand the science, math, and technology behind that particular task. I'm just going to click on one here. These are written. I want to share. Let me just kind of show you down. All of them give you a general thing below so you have an understanding of what the students are going to be required to build, what tools they're going to need. And these are written specifically for teachers. And there are places in the back, if you do need to print anything for students, we did put those on one page, and you can just take that one page and print it. When you click on it, and I'll go to creating a catapult since it's the first one. When you open it up, you're going to see that it's a PDF. The PDF gives all of the information that a teacher would need to know. One thing we know as educators, we have a lot of great tools out there, but everything that we give to our students and we want them to master, it's because it's built around standards. So we do build in the success standards that are met. If there are any specific things that you're looking for that you want your students to show mastery of. So all of these are built around understanding that they are aligned to standards. You can see that it gives all of the information a teacher would need to know, just like the essential questions, the approximate time for finishing this particular task, their role, how might you set up the classroom so that it's most conducive, the learning purpose, some vocabulary that you might want to focus in on. Again, the math in STEM. So what are the math practices that will really be looked at during this particular task? What is the depth of knowledge of this task? You know, remember, we all know that DOK represents how deeply we have to understand the content to interact with it. If this is a DOK 3, that means we're going to have to know it a lot deeper than a DOK 1, which is just simply memorization. And then materials, and before it gets into actually what a teacher does. Now, I want to stop here and share, because one of the things, I didn't want to not share these, but I also know that in today's age, because most of our students are now distance learning, this may be difficult for some of your students to do because they may not have these particular materials at home. So I want us to be mindful of that. As a former educator in the classroom for 16 years, I always had craft sticks. I always had rubber bands and bottle tops. And the reason I had that is because I knew I needed those things for these types of things. So I'd go to any party and be like, oh, hey, give me those things. I know I'm going to use them. But we know that a lot of our students don't live in homes that actually will have these materials. So the tasks that you're seeing for STEM may not always be conducive for distance learning, but I want you to be aware that they're here. You might want to just download them so that when you do go back into the classroom, you have a great resource that you can use as well. And again, it gives you the spark activity. How do you ignite the interest of students to want to participate in this activity? All of the description of what the teacher does, the students do, and all of the exactly specific, let me go back into evidence of learning, your teacher notes, and even if this is ultimately about creating a catapult, what do we want students to showcase their learning? And so rubrics are extremely important when it comes to a STEM model eliciting activity. When they're creating something, we want students to know if we're looking for problem solving, we're looking for students that are actively looking for and suggesting solutions to problems. We're looking for routinely providing useful ideas. They're a leader. So it lets students know there's no guessing. I wonder if I've got this, I wonder if I'm doing this correctly or not. And so we give all of those materials. Remember at the beginning, I said that if there were any student materials, it would be in the back. So you would probably print this page here because they will be creating a catapult design. There's some specific things they're going to be doing based on the teacher information here. And it looks from this one, they're going to complete a couple designs. So they're going to determine which design works best. So you would print that for the students and so on. These are all written the exact same way, all of the STEM activities. Again, they are PDF'd. So if you look up in the upper right-hand corner of each of these PDFs, you can see that you can print it. You can also download them as well. Are there any questions about the STEM? Any thoughts? Anybody want to speak on it or anything? Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and you can put the information in the chat. Okay, so then the last two tools I want to show you that are on here are what we call our English language arts performance task and our math performance task. And I have to share with you, extremely proud of these materials. Vetted, aligned to standards, truly will engage students, and they're built on the premise that we want students to perform. That's why they call them performance tasks. They're going to, whether they're performing through a writing or they are having to create a multimedia presentation, they're showing their learning by doing something. They have to perform something. They have to showcase something. So I'm going to show you what those look like. Looks like I might have a couple things in the chat. Let me see. Are they exclusive to MeTEOR Education? These are, they are written by MeTEOR Education, sponsored the writings of these. However, we're giving them to everybody across the nation. So anybody can use them, and you can share them to all of your colleagues as well. Good question. So let me show you the English language arts performance task. Now remember, I'm in the 3rd through 5th grade band. The way that these were written by our authors is they wrote 4 performance tasks for each grade level. 3rd grade, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So there's 4 for each of those grade levels, because the goal is to try to complete 1 performance task a quarter. So you have 4 quarters in a year, so they created 4 for the year. They take a little bit longer to do, so you have to intertwine them into your curriculum. For high school, there's 4 written English language arts around English 1, 4 for English 2, and 4 for English 3, because those are the courses. Those are very specific courses. So since I was in the 3rd through 5th grade band, when I clicked on it, I came immediately to the performance task, and you can see I'm at the top here. It says 3rd grade performance tasks, and it's got task 1. And if I scroll, it's got task 2, task 3, task 4, and then it goes into the 4th grade and tasks 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's how it's set up. So I wanted you to kind of know that they're all on one page. So you would definitely need to do a little bit of scrolling. Let me come back up to the top and share with you a few things about these before I open them up. First off, you will see the summary of these performance tasks. These are not done in one day, as I shared just a few minutes ago. They're multi questions and lots of tasks. So if you're doing distance learning, you're definitely want to look at the tasks to determine, is this something that I want them to do or not do? Because you might have options. Sometimes they give you 3 or 4 different things a teacher might have a student complete for their performance to showcase their learning. We also have each one of them written in an overview PDF, which is really the teacher overview. It's everything a teacher needs. And then a student PDF. This would be just the materials that students would need. You can take these student materials, and if you have Adobe, you can simply make them fillable PDF and send them out virtually into an internet, and someone can type right on it. You can download them if you're, we work with a lot of schools that are having to print things and students are picking up print materials. You can also put these in Google Docs. You can put them in Flipgrid. You can utilize them however you best feel, because it's the same way. When you click on it, you can download it, and then you can determine how best, depending upon your learning management system and what works best for you. So I'm going to open up a 3rd grade one here called Natural Disasters. Another thing is we tried to make these timeless, and what I mean by that is when I work with the authors on these, we didn't want it to be a topic that is only relevant for today. For example, one wanted to write something on Pokemon Go, which is a great topic, but after a year or 2 of Pokemon Go, no one's really talking about it, so kids aren't as interested in it. So you want to make sure that the performance task is written about something that is always pretty much relevant in our world, or something that just is timeless. They want to talk about it, like the Titanic or something that's happened. So this first one's on natural disasters, which doesn't mean I try to pick it up just because of what's going on in the world. It just happens to be one I picked out. I want to showcase with you, again, you can see up at the top where you can print it or you can download it. You can see that this says there's 22 pages. This is the teacher overview. This is everything a teacher would need in order to get work on this performance task. Now, when we work with schools and they use these, they typically will space out what parts a student is going to be doing. All of the performance tasks are written in part A, part B, part C. So one day may be part A, one day may be part B, and part C is the performance. So usually it takes a couple days. So there might be a couple class periods that they have to do in order to let students have time to finish that. I'm going to scroll, and you can see that all of these are written with all of the information a teacher would need in order to ensure that it is aligned to something that she's teaching. We have the essential questions, the learning targets, the content standards, and supporting standards for all of these. I get asked a lot which standards, being that we're state to state for standards. We use the college and career readiness standards, which are pretty much what all the states started with when they wrote their standards, and then some of them drilled them down a little bit more so. But you can see for many states, they kept them written the exact same. So we call them the college and career readiness standards. It provides what are the resources you're going to need for this entire, now remember, this is over multiple days, for this entire performance task. I want to share here that what we did is we provided the materials here where they are hot linked, hyperlinked, where you can go straight to the site. However, you don't have to even go out of the site unless it's a video, because we can't put a video in a PDF. But so these 2 here are videos you might want to show. But these others that are written communications, such as an infographic or a chart or something that an article that we want students to read, they are also in the back of this performance task. So they're already printed out for you, so you don't necessarily have to go to these resources here. But we've had some teachers that I would rather not, I'm not printing it, so I'd rather them know where they can go to read the materials. All of the other materials you can see here, all of these things are in the back of this performance task. PowerPoint rubric, letter writing rubric, compare and contrast essay rubric. All of the rubrics, everything that you need are listed here under materials are already supplied. So you don't have to go out and look for them. As I share with you, these performance tasks are written in part A, B, and C. And they're written so that students begin with just a working knowledge. How much are they able to read and understand and comprehend before we build up to that performance, that task that's going to showcase their learning. So for the teacher's overview, you're going to see the depth of knowledge next to the questions so that we know that students are kind of building up to those higher levels of DOK 3 and 4. So you'll see on the student version, you would see these exact same questions, but you would not see the DOK levels. So you can see they're reading a couple articles in part A and they're answering some questions. In part B, they're going to add to their learning by watching a video. See, they lay on top of each other. So you're starting to get more and more information, because as you really work on different kinds of DOK levels, you're trying to grasp more information and being able to synthesize and consolidate that information. So part B, now they've read a couple articles about natural disasters. They've answered some questions. We're going to have them watch a video. They're going to answer some questions around the video. You can see. And then we have part C. And the part C is that performance. There's, for this one, let me see, I got 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 4 different tasks that can be done for your performance. Now, remember, I just said, you're probably not going to have students do all of these, but you want to give students options. How do you want to showcase your learning? So you would, as an educator or parent, if you're using these and sharing these with parents, they would want to look at these and determine, this is something I think my students can do or my child can do right now. And then they can go ahead and give them the instructions for that as well. But you can see it goes up to the DOK 4, where they are showcasing their learning. Once we get past the part A, B, and C, then you go into all the articles and student materials that are needed. Just like I said from the beginning, all of the articles are here. I'm going to kind of flip through this very quickly. You can see the articles, the pictures, article. Here's an infographic that they must have had to do something with. Another infographic. And then you can see this is a worksheet called Hurricanes versus Tornadoes. So apparently one of the questions probably had them have to compare and contrast on hurricanes versus tornadoes. So you have your graphic organizers here. We love graphic organizers because we really help. We know that when students put their information into graphic organizers, it really helps them to cement it into their brains. Here's another graphic organizer on comparing and contrasting tornadoes and hurricanes. And then obviously one of the performances was they were going to create a student commercial. So again, just create a student commercial. I'm going to give you a grade. How do you really do that? How are you giving that grade? We have created the rubrics that go along with this, and you can then always transpose it into a grade if you need to. But students know what it is that they need to do to master this. If they're writing this essay, here's the rubric for that, and so on and so forth. So all of the materials, everything that you need for these performance tasks are there under the teacher overview. And just, I'm going to click on the student overview. You can see it just begins with just the questions. It takes out all the teacher materials that they don't need. As I said, the DOKs are not there, only the information that students would need for that. The math performance tasks are very similar. The only thing about the math performance tasks, again, 4 per grade level, 3rd through 8th grade. For high school, they are Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and Geometry. Those are the courses. They are a little different. We had a request from some teachers that we pull out the rubric because they are written where you really don't want to skip anything when it comes to a math performance task. And you probably can do the entire performance task in probably 2 to 3 days. So a lot of teachers are taking math and they're just embedding these in at the proper time between what they're doing in the classroom and when it best fits for them. And you have the teacher overview, the student materials, and then we did pull out the rubric. The rubric is different because if you have students complete the entire performance task, you can see the answers to the particular tasks, and you can just tally how many points the student got if they got all of the correct answers. This total for this particular performance task, I can look up here at the top in orange. it's worth a total of 40 points. If my students get anywhere from 0 to 8 points, we really feel like that's unsatisfactory. That means the students really are not proficient in the success standards or the math, college, and career readiness standards that these are aligned to. I know as a teacher, I have more work to do to help them. I might need to find something else for them to do. You can see that it goes to poor understanding, satisfactory understanding, which is average, a good understanding, which we feel like is a lot better than satisfactory. It just means that good means they're going to excel, probably a B if you have to transpose it to a grade, and then they are proficient at a 33 to 40. So this is what the rubric, it is also in the teacher overview as well, but that's why it was asked to be pulled out here. The student materials, just like for the performance task, it's only what the students would need to see. The teacher overview is everything a teacher would need. And again, the topics are we try to have the writers write around timeless. This is about a birthday celebration. So this whole theme will be about something to do with a birthday. So what I mean by that is you can see this looks exactly like the ELA. You have the focus area, the essential questions, learning targets, the specific college and career readiness standards that students are going to be need to be knowledgeable in. But all of these start with a scenario. So the scenario here is tomorrow's your 9th birthday and your mom is planning a birthday celebration with snacks for each student in your class and the teacher. Your mom needs your help to plan out how many snacks she needs to buy. Your mom thinks you should bring cupcakes, juice boxes, and bubble gum for the birthday celebration. So you're setting students up for this performance task, and then you are providing them with activities or tasks or questions that they have to answer or visualize or so on. And again, you can see the DOK level. The way they were written here for math, just a little bit different, is that the whole section went to the highest DOK. So you might have 2 or 3 different questions or tasks. This overall, the highest DOK or the ceiling, the DOK ceiling for this task 1 is DOK 2. For task 2, the ceiling is a DOK 2. Task 3, a DOK 2. And then task 4, you can see it goes to that higher level, DOK 3. Because once you hit 3 or 4, you are at that strategic thinking or extended thinking, where students have to showcase their learning through some type of performance action, some kind of artifact that they're going to have to give to you. So you can read through these. You can see everything that students need, and then it ends with the student's rubric. If there are any tools, which I'm not sure if this one had, they needed 10 frames. All of that information is also in the back, so you don't have to go hunting that down. And again, you can simply take this and you can put these on Flipgrid, whatever your LMS is for your school. For the convenience of students, they can print them if they want, write in them if you want to make booklets out of them or such. So those are our performance tasks. A lot of work, a lot of months and months of research and writing took place to get those written. And those are our gift to everybody. We want everyone to, find a place that they work best for you as an educator or as a parent. So overall, that is what our MeTEOR Connect looks like. Our goal is to eventually add more things into here as well. But this is our platform for now and starting. We'd like to add some things about the environment and various things, aspects like that. But I wanted to give you an idea of what was on here, so that if it's something that you're interested in, again, go back to that LMS. Let me go back here, if I can bring it up. Go to this site, lms.meteorconnect.com. and just click on and you'll go straight to the site that I just showcased. Are there any questions, any thoughts, any ending, any ideas or anything you'd like to share? You can put it in a chat. If you want to wait, and I will sit here for a while. If you prefer asking on your own, you certainly can do that as well. But I'm very proud of this, and I want to thank you so much for coming in and for letting me share our tools with you today. And I hope you find them useful. Thank you.